welcome to Ask Dr. Talal, Therapist Edition. My name is Dr. Talal Al Salim. I'm the creator of Systematic Affair Recovery Therapy and the founder of the Infidelity Counseling Center. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, the Ask Dr. Talal Therapist Edition was really designed for couples counselors and relationship coaches who are interested in learning more about affair recovery and affair prevention. So think of it more of a mini professional presentations. And this series that you are watching, it's a four-part series. It's about online affairs and how to treat them. And this is part four, so this would be the last part of this particular series. And in part one, we talked about definitions and how it's challenging to define infidelity. In part two, we talked about the signs that we need to look for to identify if somebody is involved in emotional or sexual infidelity through online interactions. And last week was part three. And in part three, we talked about the mediums that people utilize to engage in infidelity behavior, as well as some of the sites and apps that they use to cover their tracks. And in part four, we're going to talk about some of the unique treatment challenges for cyber infidelity. So today we're going to talk about five different unique treatment challenges for online affairs. We're going to talk about the public display of relationship discord. We're going to talk about comparison, rumination, revenge, and blackmail. So public display of relationship discord can actually be very damaging to the couple's attempt to repair their relationship. So think of it this way. Um, when people are involved in online infidelity, they have a higher risk of having other people discover some knowledge about the affair. So I can't tell you how many clients I work with in which the betrayed did not know about the affair until one of their friends told them, I saw your partner or your husband or your wife dating profile on an app that I'm on. Or sometimes, somebody is engaged in inappropriate online behavior through social media, through Facebook, Instagram, and, seeing somebody making an appropriate comment about somebody else's profile. So when you have somebody who's involved in online type of infidelity, there's a higher risk of other people witnessing this inappropriate behavior. And oftentimes, when the affair is being discovered, there's a lot of guilt, there's a lot of shame, there's a lot of embarrassment, and the intensity of those feelings can actually heavily influence the decision people make about the future of the relationship after the discovery of the affair. Uh, Not only that, but people usually, when they have an affair that's being discovered, oftentimes they solicit advice and help from other people. So you have all these people who know about your partner's infidelity. They're going to be offering you a lot of possibly bad advice in terms of what you should do, whether you should stay or leave for the right or the wrong reasons. So this exposure can cause further complication if the couple decide to repair their relationship, because now you have to worry about all these people who know about this infidelity and how you're going to face their judgment if you decide to repair the relationship. Also, this is important for the clients who have kids, and the last thing that you want is for the kids to be exposed to the knowledge about the infidelity because it was an online behavior that has a lot of evidence for other people to see. So that's the public display of relationship discord challenge. When we take a look at the comparison treatment challenge, infidelity usually requires the involvement of a third party, which is the term that I use to describe the other man or the other woman in the affair. Uh, and this automatically sets the stage for comparison between the partner who was betrayed and the person who is involved in the affair, which is the third party. And it's an unfair comparison to be dragged in, but I think it's natural for the betrayed to wonder, what does the third party have that I don't have? This comparison automatically happens in any kind of affair we're dealing with. And oftentimes this comparison almost always lead the partner who has betrayed to question their adequacy and self-worth. Now, here's the challenge when it comes to cyber infidelity. Cyber infidelity gives the betrayed partner unlimited access to the identity of the third party. So back in the old days before social media, if your partner was having an affair, you had to find out on accidents, or maybe hire a private detective to figure out the identity of this third party. But nowadays, if you have access to internet, you just have to, find their profile on social media, and you have endless amount of information that you can find about the third party, which means that this make the compulsion to compare more pressing and more damaging because of the level of detail that is accessible to the betrayed partner when you're dealing with an online affair versus the old-fashioned non-virtual affair. Another unique treatment challenge to cyber infidelity is rumination. The main goal of infidelity counseling is to help people to promise the trauma of the affair, which entails giving them the opportunity to understand what happened, why it happened, and where to go from here. And without the true narrative of the affair, healing cannot take place. Cyber infidelity interferes with one's ability to control the content of the story. Because as a clinician, when you are trying to help your clients uncover the narrative of the affair, you're going to be seeing two different forces. You're going to see the need to exaggerate, which happens on the end of the betrayed because they're trying to prepare themselves for the worst case scenario. You're going to see the end to minimize, which usually happens on the end of the unfaithful partner, who is trying to whitewash the version of the story because they're trying to control the outcome, and also they want to avoid dealing with the guilt and shame, and also they want to minimize how much hurt they can cause for the betrayed at this moment of time. And your job as a clinician is to make sure that the story is being told without exaggeration and without it being minimized. But also, more importantly, is to figure out what is the appropriate level of disclosure, because there is such thing as oversharing, and there is such thing of exposing the betrayed to information that could lead to unnecessary images and thoughts down the road that they're going to be stuck with. The problem when you're dealing with cyber infidelity, you lose control over the content of the story. Nowadays, there are many apps and sites that makes it easier for the betrayed partner to spend endless amount of time and resources digging up information and evidence about the affair. We have Google trackings, we have text recovery apps, we have cell phone cloning, we have, surveillance hardware and software that people can utilize, which means that the betrayed is going to have an unobstructed access to everything. And the problem with access to everything, not all of it is actually going to be useful, and someone can actually be damaging. But more importantly, even when you have 24/7 audio and video recording or text exchange between the unfaithful and the third party, that doesn't really capture everything, right? Because it only captures actions. It doesn't capture actual thoughts, actual feelings, because a lot of times what you see and what you read doesn't mean that it's automatically going to be an accurate portrayal of the thoughts and the feeling process between the unfaithful and the third party. Another unique treatment challenge for cyber infidelity is revenge. Infidelity can have clear, tangible sexual impact, like contracting and sharing sexually transmitted infections, unwanted pregnancies, or job losses because the affair took place in the workplace with a coworker. But infidelity can also have non-tangible emotional impact that affect both partners differently. The impact manifests through intense, painful emotions, and those emotions often lead to impulsive actions. The anger toward the unfaithful and the third party can manifest through impulsive words or action geared toward reciprocating that same disrespect and the feeling of betrayal, as well as it becomes more of an attempt to even out the scales. And this can take the form of online shaming or revenge pornography. The online shaming part, there is tons of websites out there that were created by people who've been betrayed before. And the main premise of those websites is that you go there, you tell your story, you expose the unfaithful partner, you expose the third party, you put their name, their picture, personal information about them. It's really like a cyber form of public shaming. And oftentimes the betrayed is doing this as a way to get even, as a way for them to express their anger and hurt. Which again, that create other problems that end up interfering with the couple's attempt for recovery. And as far as the revenge pornography, there's a lot of sites in which people, again, they're upset, they're hurt, they find this pornographic material that was exchanged between the unfaithful and the third party, and they end up uploading it into these websites, and it becomes, forever part of these sites. So it's a different version of revenge and shaming. And again, that also interfere with the couple's effort into trying to heal from this, regardless whether they're trying to repair the relationship or heal individually. The last unique treatment challenge to cyber infidelity I'm going to talk about today is this issue of blackmail. Cyber infidelity oftentimes produce a lot of concrete and tangible evidence of the affair, and this evidence can be used and abused as leverage by the unfaithful, the betrayed, as well as the third party to serve their own goals and agendas. These ulterior motives and agendas can actually put a lot of pressure on the therapeutic alliance, as well as the integrity of the right motivation for treatment, as well as the decision made by the unfaithful, the betrayed partner. Um, an example of this: sometimes the betrayed forces the unfaithful to stay in a relationship and end an affair that they don't really want to terminate simply by threatening to share evidence with unfaithful family, friends, coworkers, or the third party significant other. Sometimes the third party is the one who forces the unfaithful to continue an affair that they're no longer interested in being in, due to the threat of sharing that same evidence with the unfaithful family, friends, coworkers, and the unfaithful partner. Other times, all parties can actually use such evidence to serve their own interests in legal proceedings, especially if they're dealing with child custody or HR issues related to wrongful termination because somebody slept with someone at the workplace. So hopefully, this highlight all the unique treatment challenges for cyber infidelity. If you want to learn more about this topic, you can actually check out the 3-hour course about cyber affairs. It's available on the systematic affair recovery therapy.com, and you can actually get CEU credit for attending that course. So I look forward to seeing you in other professional presentations. Until then, be well, be safe, and embrace the possibility for a brighter future. Take care.